All right, we got a test today because active learning is, the best way to learn by far. So today I have a bunch of problems for you, and after each one, I guess we'll go over it, but we're going to have a scoring system, see how much you score out of 100, and we're going to go over all the things we've talked about, or at least many of them, maybe not all. And so we'll start with some no rules problems, then we'll move on to some stuff with rules, various kinds of thinking. Hopefully we cover everything. And yeah, so in each position, you're going to be blue. It says you are always blue up top. It will say that for the first few, but then it will go away, but you are always blue. No rules. I'll tell you when there are rules and when there aren't, and at the bottom you can see what you're supposed to do, which is find all safe moves in this position that blue can make, and all captures. So you should pause, figure it out. Maybe you already have if you're super quick, but come up with your answer, pause till you found your answer, and then we'll scroll down. So last warning before I scroll down and give some answers. Okay, so we're going to award 1 point for each safe move or capture in this position. So we have 8, 2, 6, 6, and 7, which is the only capture available. We have 8, 2, 6, 6, and 9, which is safe. Hopefully you looked at their super card and noticed they have an 8 in all directions except to the right, so it is easier for us to find safe moves on the right side of the board. Then we have 4, 8, 5, 6, and 7, because it has an 8 pointing out, and it has only one out-facing direction, so it's going to be safe. Similarly, we have 5, 6, 8, 4, and 2. Then we also have 6, 1, 8, 7, and 2 using the same 8 down. The only out-facing direction is an 8, so it can't be taken. Or 6, 1, 8, 7 in 6, because again, they have a weakness to the right. If you found all 6 moves, all the captures and all the safe moves, award yourself 4 bonus points for a maximum of 10. If not, you'll have to settle for between 0 and 5, however many you got right. And let's move on to the next problem. So again, you want to pause and solve. I should say on this one that you're both supposed to find the win for no rules and then find a win with same plus and plus wall included. That might not be clear here, so I should say that. Anyways, pause and solve. Alright, this is your final warning before I scroll down. Remember, you're always blue. Blue here, we're going to give 5 points for correctly finding each win. So this is going to be 10 more points for a maximum total score of 20, as you can see below. The wins in no rules is 4, 4, 7, 2 in 1, because Imp 3, 7, 3, 6 is going to dominate horizontally. They can't capture anything, and we will capture at least 1 card on the final turn. With rules, it's a bit more complicated. For instance, Imp already has a plus if it goes in 5, flipping the card in 2. But the winning move is actually the very same move, 4, 4, 7, 2 in 1, because it sets up Imp 3, 7, 3, 6 for a plus in either 4 or 5, and that's going to be enough to win because it still dominates horizontally. So if you found both moves, you get a grand total of 10 points. If you got the second one wrong with same plus and plus W, and you thought you should start with 3, 7, 3, 6, and 5 because you noticed it flips the card in 2, then you get 2 points partial credit instead of the full 5. Alright, max score of 20. How are you doing? We have our third problem. In this one, again, no rules, you're always blue, and all you have to do here is find the win. So you can pause. Okay, last warning before I scroll down, so pause now if you haven't. Alright, so I kind of like this one. I don't think it's very hard. The win is 6, 6, 3, 2, and 8 for a max, and you get the full 10 points if you got it. So, can run up some score. But I like this one because the captures aren't correct, right? 2, 3, 6, 7 in either 3 or 6 is not the win. Either one, they can, if we go, for instance, 2, 3, 6, 7 in 3, they can capture from 6, and we capture nothing on the final turn, and it's a 5-5 tie. Similarly, if we play 2, 3, 6, 7, and 6, they capture from 3, and again, we're only going to get a tie. And I think this is a nice example of kind of figure out what square we want to play in. Well, 8 is a really nice square to play in because it blocks in a lot of our cards. Maybe they couldn't take them, maybe they were safe, but we don't want to give them the secureness of getting to play an 8 themselves, and also anything we'd play in 3 or 6 would be vulnerable. And which cards do we want to play in 8? Well, we want to play the one that's weakest. We want to use our weakest card, and that is clearly the 6632, as the 2367, as we could see, has all the captures available. So I like this one because it doesn't take any of the captures, it leaves them for later, and keeps our strongest card, so we'll be able to capture at the end. And our next problem. You are always blue, we're still no rules, just find the win. You can pause now. Alright, final warning to pause if you haven't. And now we're going to scroll down to the answer. This is going to be worth another full 10 points, so if you've gotten everything so far, you will be up to 40. Congratulations. The win is 1415 in 6. Other moves do not win. Anything we play in 3 or 9, they can recapture with Cactuar, and we won't be able to take Cactuar. The point of playing 1, 4, 1, 5, and 6 is that we can easily recapture it from both sides, and our final card will also capture the card next to it in 2 or 8, and we're going to win 6-4. And it actually doesn't matter what cards they have once we play in 6, it only matters what the cards are on the board, because when they go in 3 or 9, we're never going to interact again with the card they play. We only have to interact with the cards on the board. So this would also definitely be the move you'd want to make in closed. It's a forced win either way. So hopefully you got that. And alright, so this one might be a little confusing to read, so I'm going to explain a little, which is, in each of these positions we've seen which squares are controlled by red and which squares are controlled by blue. We don't actually care what the cards are. What I'm asking is, where does blue want to go? Assuming you can capture anything you desire to capture, where would you like to go? What's the structurally correct move in each position? So you can pause. Final warning, if you haven't paused, to pause now before I scroll down. Got loud car noises outside. Alright, so in this one, we're going to give 3 points for correctly finding each desirable square to play in. In the first one, on the left, the desirable move is 2. It secures the card in 1. It is the only move that secures. In the second one, the correct square is going to be 4. 4 is the only square that is secure itself. Nothing can attack it. And in the third one, the correct move is 6. You may have also considered 4. 4 secures the card in 1, but 6 secures the card in 3 and is secure itself. So that's going to be structurally favorable. And the other thing about going in 6 is it means your opponent doesn't get to, right? If you go in 4, they get to go in 6, and that's going to be advantageous for them. So 3 points for each one, and if you got all 3 correct, give yourself a bonus point, and you are up to 50 maximum. Alright. So this one I should make sure to say that there are going to be multiple answers for each of these questions. So if you pick one square, you're not going to be getting full credit. There are going to be multiple ones for each. If you pick a square that's wrong, or if you guess like every square, then you're going to get points subtracted. So try to figure out the squares where blue can go, where red has no reply that secures either the card itself or can secure a card it captures or locks in. So pause. Final warning to have paused. Alright, so this one's a bit trickier. We're going to give 2 points for each move that denies red a securing reply. So in the first one, if we go in 6, 8, or 9, by playing far away, we deny them securing moves. Very similarly, in the second one, a lot of people will be tempted to go in 2. But if you go in 2, your opponent can secure from 4, 5, or 6. They have lots of securing moves. The only way to deny them securing moves are, again, to play far away in 7, 8, or 9. In the third one, there are only 2 correct answers. Any other move, and you can check this yourself, will allow a securing reply. The only 2 moves that don't are going in 5 or 7. So if you got all 8 of those correct, you get 2 points for each, so that would be 16, and then you get 4 bonus points if you got everything correct and had no incorrect answers. Subtract a point for each time you had an incorrect answer, and if you have any, you can't get the bonus. We have a maximum of 20 points available here for a total of 70, if you've nailed everything. Okay, the image got smaller. Not sure what I screwed up graphically for this. I picked, I think, a bad color, though I was having trouble finding a color that you'd be able to read. But it says, identify all moves that set up blue, because we're always blue, and we're using SP and PW, same plus and plus wall are now in effect, to be able to capture red starter, their card in 1, from both 2 and 4. So there are going to be multiple answers. Try to find as many moves as you can that set you up to be able to capture their starter from both 2 and 4. You can pause. Final warning to pause. Okay. There were a lot of answers to this one. So you get 5 points for each move that sets yourself up to be able to capture red starter both ways. One thing to note is we already can capture it from 4, and we can capture it with 2 different cards. 7414 has a plus wall, because 7 plus 7 equals 4 plus 10. And 4741 also has a plus wall, because 7 plus 4 equals 1 plus 10. Both of them have that gap of 3 between their up and left card, so both of them are going to be able to plus wall a 7. So we really only need to set ourselves up to be able to take their starter from 2. And because we have 2 different ways to take from 4, it's even okay if we use one of those cards, because we'll still have the other one to potentially be able to take their card from 4. So we got to set up for 2, and there are 4 different ways to set up for 2. Playing 5-1, 5-6 in 3 has a 6 facing left, they have a 6 facing right, so any cards that have the same left and right values will be able to plus in 2. We have 2 of those, 7-4-1-4 and 1-4-7-4. Then 4-7-4-1 in 3 also sets us up for 2, because it has a 1 facing left and their starter is a 6 facing right, and we have a card, our bottom card, 5-1, 5-6, can same in 2 after we play there. So that's a second option. Our third and fourth options are going to be in 5, because the only squares that can help set us up for 2 are going to be 3 and 5, so of course the only answers can be in those squares. And our answers there, we have 3-6-3-3, which if it goes in 5, you'll notice there's a 3 gap from its number facing up and the 6 facing right from their starter, so both 4-7-4-1 and 1-4-7-4 will be able to plus in 2 afterwards. And finally, as you can see, 7-4-1-4 in 5 has a 7 up, there's going to be a 6 to the right from their starter, and that sets up 5-1-5-6 to plus in 2. So I hope you found them all. If you did, take 20 points. For every incorrect answer that wasn't one of those 4 moves, subtract 2 points, maximum of 20 points, and maybe someone out there is on a max score of 90. Alright, our final problem for the test. Same plus plus wall closed. What is blue's best move? You can pause. Final warning to pause. Alright, so this one, can you get to 100? We have 3 points if you selected any move in 1 or 6, because those are the 2 squares that secure a card. 1 of course secures 4 and 6 secures 9. Secondly, 3 more points if you said, okay, 1 protects the card in 4, which is a very weak outfacing number. 6 protects the card in 9, which is quite a high outfacing number. The rule of odds says if I only have one outfacing number, I want it to be as high as possible. I want it to be as hard for them to take as I can set up. Therefore, I'm going to protect the card with the less high outfacing number, the one that's easy for them to take, and leave the one that's hard. So if you chose to go in 1 instead of 6, take another 3 points. Then, if you chose 5-5-8-5 to go in 1, because that has the highest outfacing number of any card you could put in 1, and it only has one direction it's outfacing towards, take another 2 points, because that has the strongest values there. And finally, take 2 more points if you notice that both 5-8-5-5 and 6-4-8-6 can, in 6, can take the card that is in 5. 5-8-5-5 does it with the plus rule. It has 5s facing 8s, so those are both going to add to 13, while 6-4-8-6 does it with the plus wall rule. So if you notice both of those, take another 2 points. Give yourself 1 if you noticed one or the other. Maximum of 10 points and an aggregate max score of 100. How'd you do? Did you get an A? Did you get over a 90? Did you get over an 80? If you got less than maybe a 60 or 70, either I did a terrible job explaining things in my past videos, or maybe you should watch some of them again. If you did better, congratulations. I hope this was a decent test. I wish it had more examples of using the weakest card that accomplishes your goal, figuring out what do I want to do, and then what is the card that is most expendable in my hand. So I didn't do a perfect job or anything picking these examples, but I wanted to get up, a bunch of problems that I thought were interesting, and hopefully you did well and enjoyed them. And sadly, there's no longer a site that you can regularly be playing Triple Triad on, so I want to give as many tests and examples and active learning as I can, hence this test. Cheers.